Good evening to everybody who is looking our stream today. We have very interesting tasks and also very interesting guests. How you know our stream? The name is Football Business Insider Talk, and today we will really have the lucky moment to speak with few peoples which are really inside in the business. Someone is inside in the football business, like our Manchester United scout Roy, and somebody is inside in the business from another side who must care about the negotiation skills, about some things when you make contracts and when you speak about that. But yes, first of all, it's great to have my guest here from one of the biggest clubs on the world, from Manchester United, a good friend of mine. I think it's 15 years ago, Roy, when we meet each other.
Yeah,
Welcome, Roy Boykenkamp, our scout from Manchester United.
yeah. Thanks, Misat. Yes, I'm happy to be here, and it's very interesting to have a talk about it, and hopefully all the students have something to learn on the talk we have. So yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you, Roy. Now I mention it. I cannot remember how far away was our first meeting. I think it's something about 12, 13, 15 years. How much?
Yeah, I think I can remember actually. It was just a friendly game somewhere in the Netherlands. I think it was a Romanian team who was having a training camp in Holland, and we were visiting on a small pitch. No fans on the stands, nothing.
Yeah,
Just a friendly game, and I think you were with Petrovic, the former player and coach.
yes,
We both know, and he introduced to each other. So yeah, so I think it's 15 years ago, Mirsad. It's
yeah,
different
yeah.
times.
Yes, we will not speak about the years. You know, we are long term in this business. Yes, yes, I can
Yeah,
remember. I was with Petrovic. Yes, I think he was in this time by PSV Eindhoven, the assistant coach or something like that.
yeah,
And you work also on this time in Groningen. Is it
yeah,
correct? Yeah.
yeah. At that time, I was chief scout in Groningen. I was just finished my professional career as a player.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, I immediately started to work as a scout in Groningen as a chief scout. So probably it was around 2005 or something that we met, and that time it was just going to the games, learning and see as much as games as possible. I was quite known to be everywhere at that time. We need
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
everywhere because the only thing you could do was seeing live games, of course, and
Mm-hmm.
especially the games like that. It was a Romanian team who was having the training camp in Holland, so it was a good opportunity to see a team like that because at that moment we had not the budget to go everywhere, of course, to see all the games, and it was different times because you just had to see the live games. So you had to travel a lot and to see some live games as much as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, that will be also the question what I want to ask you. Yes, first of all, where you start to come inside in this scouting life, you know, and yeah,
Yeah.
did you have some comparison about this time and today? What are was difficult or what in another style to work in this time?
Yeah. Now, as I said, I started in 2004 when I finished my professional career. But honestly, I was always a player when I was in the last years who always saw a lot of games, um, also during my career. When I was a player at Groningen, I watched the academy under 19s, under 17 when they play at home. I went to the second team games in my neighborhood where I was playing at Groningen. We had two different professional teams who play in the second league in Holland, and they played at mostly on Monday, Friday evening at that time. And when they play at home, I went to those games already when I was when I was a player. So I was always attracted to see games, to see good players. So I was already giving some advice to the club about players I saw in those games. Maybe youth players. I thought, oh, they have potential to become a first team player. And in the other leagues, I saw opponents and the teams. I came back and I spoke to the director and I said, I saw a game and yesterday that player, we have to focus on that. That's a good player. And I was still a player. So when I decided to stop playing, I had some offers around Holland to stay in the business. But the club said, listen, Roy, you helped us a lot already with finding players. And is it a job for you to start up a scouting department in Groningen? And yeah, it was a good opportunity for me to see if that job fits me, if I had the feeling. But actually, I was training myself already for a couple of years in that business. So I said yes. I became also a trainer first. So I made a combination as being a trainer, coach, and also scouting. But at that time, it went really well, and it became bigger and bigger and bigger, and much work to do. So I decided already in 2 years to focus full on only scouting and trying to build up the network and build up the scouting department in Groningen. So actually that was why I became a scout and became in that environment. I was really lucky that the club was giving me the opportunity after my career. In a time, I told you already, you only could see live games, so you had to choose. You have to go, you have to travel, and I just went to try to see as much games as possible, to learn,
But that
to
means
make
also you
reports.
have the passion. You have the passion from the start for scouting, to
You
be
need,
honestly. Yeah.
especially now, Misat, especially now with all the games, with all the days, it's 7 days a week work. Honestly, it's 7 days a week. You're always on now because every day there are games. We have now, of course, the opportunity to see the every player, every game around the world on video with all kind of platforms like WeScout and everything. So you need to have that passion. You need to have that fanatic thing as a scout. Because it honestly it is 7 days a week. Of course, sometimes you have a free midday or evening, but even in your holidays, the phone is always ringing. There's if your boss is asking about some players, you need to answer, even if it's a holiday. You see 300, 350 games a year, I think, with all the video and live and everything. If you not have the passion, if you don't have that fanatic vibe, then it will
This
kill
drive
you. It
also.
will kill.
You
It
must
will
have
kill.
the drive
Yeah, the
inside.
drive. Yeah, and you need to travel a lot. Train, car, plane, and that can be really exhausting to your body, to your style of life, of course. So it is a fantastic job. Believe me, it's one of the best jobs you can have, especially if you really a former player or interesting as a player. Uh, but it's not an easy job. It's the pressure is high on every level. And it's 7 days a week. So you have to be a fanatic. Yeah, that's clear.
That's also a
Otherwise,
good.
it kills you.
That's a good point of view. I would like to see from our visitors Please write down number one when you also would like to be a scout, or when the scouting job is a dream job for you. Just write in the comment number one, that we see how much people is there and how much people want to do this. And you say the right word, Roy. It's really a dream job, but it's also very, very, very how you can say, it's not, it's tough. It's tough. It makes fun, but it's also very, very tough. And I see here many of people writing down the one. Yes, and also write me down, please, who and where are you from looking us. That will be also very interesting. Uh, it's tough. It's tough lifestyle when you want to be a high level professional scout. Correct?
Yeah, yeah, and it's an experience job.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of questions about scouting from a lot of people who wants to be a scout. Do I have to be a professional player before? Do I have to play? Did I?
They must
Of
have this
course.
background. They must have a high level background.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
the.
question.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it always helps, but is it necessary? No. But it is an experience job. So can you be straight away a perfect scout when you're young or just starting the job? I don't think so. You have to see as much as possible, as much as games as possible, and to
Mm-hmm.
learn how to look to players, get an experience. And I mean, if I scout now players now, today, tomorrow, actually in
Mm-hmm.
3 4 years later, I can say if I did the right thing on that player. Did I have the no? Did I have seen the development on that player, the potential of that player on the right way? Was his path going as I expected or not? So actually, the players you scout now, 3 4 years, maybe you can say I did a good job on him, or yes or no. So it
Mm-hmm.
means it's an experienced job. So if you try to see as much as possible on games, making reports, and making predictions on the players, on their potential, the level they maybe can be in the future, can have in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all about the level they have now, but what they can become and the potential and the level in the future. That's scouting and recruitment, and you have to have that experience to see if you have seen it the right way. And believe me, you make mistakes, you make good choices, and that's why you have to learn and to see, and also you have to create a style of scouting, making your
Mm-hmm.
reports, making a database on reports. Now people like you,
Yeah.
Misap, can help with that, with the book, with the education about how to recognize talent, how to judge players, and you create your own style with the help of that.
Yeah.
And so you need the experience. So of course, if you play the highest level you can play, it helps. Of course, that's true, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not necessary. I know a lot of fantastic scouts who just started, not playing on a high level, just playing non-league or even lower, or even just interesting in the football, on a different way as a player, and always
Mm-hmm.
was busy with making analysis on players and looking to data and all that kind of stuff, and they developed their knowledge, and they're really good scouts. So it's not necessary, in my opinion. It will always help to know the
Mm-hmm.
feeling, how it is to come on the pitch, to have the pressure. What does it to a player if you have lost 4 games and you have to go to an away against Bayern Munich or whatever? Will he hide? Will he wants the ball, or just say, okay, today no, and maybe next week again? I mean, I think a former player recognized that kind of things a little bit
Hmm.
easier if you've been there, you know. So, but uh, just go and
Everything is
see games.
teachable. You would say that
Of course,
scouting is teachable, and when you have the
yeah,
passion for that, and when you have the right mentor, and when you repeat
yeah,
it again and again and again, that you can really come on a high level. Did I say it correctly?
yeah, yeah. That's exactly how it is, Mirsad. And it can happen. I mean, uh, you have talent for some people have talent for to make analysis about players.
Hmm.
Some have talented on live scouting. Some have talented on the data and everything. So you have to find also what is your talent. What kind of scouting you feel comfortable to do, and you think you have talent for it. Because honestly, there will be also a lot of people who wants to be scout and they do everything for it, but maybe
Hmm.
not have the feeling at the end to make the
Yeah.
decisions, or the bravery to make decisions, or because the
Hmm.
pressure is also high, even especially if you're how bigger the club is, and the money involved in transfers and everything. You also
Yes.
have to stand the pressure, and as we all know, a club like Man United, for example, the pressure is unbelievable high on everyone who's working there. I don't have to tell you now, for example, it's the pressure is of course high. So every transfer, every new recruited player, there is a player on pressure on the player, of course, but also on the scouting team, on the coaches, on the manager. So you also have to be aware that you can stand the pressure, and that's on every level. Because if you have a
Yeah.
small budget as a club, on a small club, it's even more important to find the right players for that
Hmm.
small money. You can't spend many millions on a bunch of players. So maybe you can have one or two transfers in. So it has to be the right ones if you just can spend small money. So if you make the wrong choice, the pressure on you is high, and so yeah, you have to develop your talent. You have to develop your
Yeah.
view, the way of scouting, and you have to resist and be aware of the pressure. Yeah,
Yes. And the background to generalize the question is not necessary, but it will be good that you have some structure, like we give in our
yeah,
spa academy fast starting scouting course. We give a structure, how to make the reports, how to learn the standards of evaluation of a player, and repeated more and more times. And when you come with some database, which we also have, and create your own database, I think it's much easier to make application in some club. Because when you come
yeah,
and say, look, I just see 100 games on the TV, and when you come and say, I have a database of 100 games, what I look, and I would like to work and to start in your club, do you see much more chances to come inside in this world of scouting?
yeah. Of course, having creating your own database is really important if you start in the scouting. If you're not already work in a club, you want to work at a club, just start seeing games and make reports on players and create a database. Um, Maybe you can send or reports to people in clubs where you have already have contacts to show them what you're capable of. What you did, with your reports, with your database, and then maybe you have a chance to come in a club, because if when they see your work and they think, okay, that's interesting, I see the players, the reports are good, you have a
Hmm.
better chance to come in the club, of course. So I advise always young guys, or even older guys who wants to be in the business as a scout, just start to make reports, start to make reports, seeing as much as possible the games, on television, live, any level, doesn't matter, youth, first team, and make a database and learn from yourself and learn how to see players and the development path of the players and see if you're making the right decision on the level of the potential of the players. And um, yeah, it helps yourself developing, and it helps for a future club, of course, if you can show a database or show the players you like, and especially for the level, the clubs where you're going to have a chat about scouting. I mean, it's not necessary if you go to a lower league club to talk about scouting and you come with Messi and Ronaldo, and yeah, so you have to be aware of the level of the club you visit or you want to join with a scouting job, so that you know about different levels and finding the right players on the right level, because that's really important. I always say when people wants to tip me, if it's agents or just people in the field or former players, and I don't know those people, then I always say,
Mhm.
listen, you get one chance with me now. So if you propose a player now to me, it has to be at least fit in the level and the team. If you bring a player in and the level is so much down on the level you want to have a play, I mean, you always can have this discussion: is it a good one or a bad one?
Yeah,
That's okay with me. But if the level is really that way down for the level,
and
then
low.
you had one chance. You had one chance and you lost it. So beware
Mhm.
that if you propose players to people in clubs that you're sure it's the right level. It's and then you can have the discussion: is the right player for that team? Is it the right player on that position? That's good. That's
And
normal.
and and
But
that
if
you
it's
know the
really,
player. Roy, what's also very
of course,
important, what I tell my people, why to make this scouting reports? Why to look how they player play on the positions and how they have skills? You must to
yeah,
know your player, and I say you
yeah,
must at least to see your player 5 times live in every kind of games. You know, not just in the game when he play and perform great and make great things, assistance or scores. You also must to have the view and report of your player when he was not so good, when they lose, or when he was not in the best fitness. You know, and that's what I think is the most important thing when you receive some player that somebody recommends to you, that he can tell you, I see him at least 5 6 games, I know him at least a long period of time, and that they can say you not just his strong sides, also to say you his not so good sides. Then you, like a scout, would say this guy is a serious guy, and this guy I can start to do something with him. Is this correct?
yeah, totally. That's correct, Misat. Um, yeah, I always tell, I prefer players, you target players you've seen a lot. Um, I even like more if they have a difficult game, if they have not that
Hmm.
fantastic game. They
Hmm.
when a coach come or someone else see the player and say, he was poor today. I prefer
Hmm.
those games. He was poor because most of the time you can see more on a player when he's playing a poor game. But for me, as a scout, it's not important if he plays a good or a poor game. It's about his abilities. It's about what he's doing with it. Yeah, I mean, even you, Misat, and me, as a
Yeah.
player, we all had a game that everything was fine and everything works, and
Hmm.
maybe you shoot on goal from 30 meters and score a goal. That's exceptional.
Hmm.
That we all have had one of those games. So if you go as a scout and see one of those games from that player, you think, wow, what a player is that, and it's world class and everything.
Hmm.
Um, so you need to see the player on different circumstances: away game, home game. I mean, in some leagues, what is the difficult away game, the environment, the aggressiveness of fans directly on the stands, like in England or maybe in Croatia, Serbia. You have also those
Yes.
Balkan countries. It's really difficult to play at. So
Yeah.
go and watch the player in an away game in that environment. See how he's holding. Is he holding, or is he thinking, okay, maybe not today, next game.
Hmm.
So you need to see the player on different circumstances or different levels against good teams, lower teams, if possible, European games or national team games. Depends on the level, of course. So then you can make a complete picture of the player. If you see the player only on home games and he's always on the better side, you get a certain picture of the player. Can be maybe not the whole picture, because you need to see him in a difficult environment also.
Hmm.
Um, did he have injuries in the past? How we cope with the injuries in the past. Is he recovered totally? Is it still in his head? It's important that the character and mentality of players nowadays, with all the social media, the pressure, the amount of
Yeah.
games, is becoming more and more important. So as a scout now, it's always also, it's not only looking to the players, but trying also to find out with your network about character of the players. So it's important to speak people in the clubs,
Hmm.
trainers, former players, people who worked with the players. So it's not only scouting the live games anymore. It's also trying to know everything, follow everything about the players you follow, or target players, to find out about character, mentality, desire, and even social media now. Because I mean,
Yeah.
it's difficult now for young players and with all the social media things, the likes and everything, the aggressiveness on the social
Hmm.
media when you play a bad game, the pressure, it's huge. So the whole thing of mentality is becoming even more important than in the past. So and as a scout, you need to develop also to look into that. I'm sometimes in days finding all kind of stuff on internet and reading interviews,
Yeah.
trying to know the player as a character, and
Yeah.
that's also part of the job now. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's also important.
Very interesting. We will also speak about the comparison of the time when you start, when we start. I always also was starting like a scout by Bayern Munich and Dinamo Zagreb, and the comparison of now. But first of all, I want to show you that that people looking from many parts of the world. We have here somebody from the US. We have also some guys from Netherlands. Anga Webster is from Netherlands. Hello, best regards to Netherlands, and also Brando Schenker, one of our very very successful students, also from Germany. We have somebody, Asif Ardea, and yeah, we have also from Mali. Um, Momanda is also there, and we have many of questions what people want to ask. You can write us
Okay.
down the questions, what you want to hear, the answers to what you want to hear from Roy. I'm sure some of them will be very interesting. I do also one post today, and in the post was few options of questions, and the most interesting question was, did you need, and yes, please write me the number one when you want to become talent scout, or when you are maybe interesting about our report booklet, what we do for our course, for the fast start scouting course. Just write the number one inside. One of the most common question was, of course, how to become a football scout, but also a question, uh, is is to be easier to become a football scout when you have a mentor, or did you would recommend a mentor when you want to become a football scout? Roy? What's your opinion?
Uh, yeah, I gave away a little bit the answer already in our talk now. How to become a football scout is just go and just see games and make reports and create a database for yourself and try to be attractive for clubs and go to clubs and um, try to find people in clubs that you can show yourself and show the reports and learn. A mentor can always help, of course. If you have a good mentor who can help you, can lead, point the way you have to go, help you on your development, on scouting players, how to look to players, can help you with the contact at clubs. It's really important. You have to know there's so many people want to have a job in football. There's so many people want to be a scout. So yes, it will help. Sometimes you need people who help you in this football business, and a mentor can help you very much. For your own development and also to have the contacts in the club. So yeah, yes, of course, it's really helpful. Still, at the end, you have to do it yourself. At the end, you need to
At the end.
show you're a good scout. At the end, you need to provide the clubs with the good players and the good reports. And I mean, I become a scout at Man.United, but it was a long path. I was not directly working in the Premier League in Man.United. I was first at Groningen, as I said. I did it 5-6 years, developed myself. Then I went to FC Twente in Holland. At that time, a bigger step, a bigger club. In the years we had fantastic years. We even became champion at that time of Holland for the first time in history. Champions League, Europa League games, cup winners, and I did it 6 years also. Then I had the opportunity to go to PSV Eindhoven, and I was all international scouts. So I was everywhere in Europe, and actually in the world. So people see you, people know you also from the other clubs. You see each other on big tournaments, on World Cups, European Cup games. So the inner circle of international scouts is not that big. There are a lot of scouts, but the international circle of international is not that big because all the clubs, the people who travel the whole year long is not that really that many. So people know each other. So when there is a chance to go to develop further to bigger clubs, on people know you. So
Of
so
course.
then Man United was searching for scouts 8 years ago, and they found me, and they know me, and then they asked me and have the talk and everything, and then I become a Man United scout. So, but it was now this is my 8th season, I think, at Man United already. But it took me 10, 11, 12 years to become a Premier League scout. So it's not
Yeah.
so easy. That it's not going by day and night to be in that role. So and also, honestly, you have to be lucky that you meet the right people on the right time, having a job for you. That's and at the end, if you have the job, you have to do it yourself again, and you have to perform and you have to
You
deliver.
have to.
Otherwise, there's so many others who do the job
To
for you.
come back to
So,
this thing, Roy, can you say, can you remember how much manager you worked together in Man United in your 8 years? Who was
ooh,
inside in this 8 years?
uh, I when I started at Man United, I started with Mourinho. Was there
Yeah.
Mourinho, Solskjaer, Ten Hag, of course, now, and I forgot his name. Schmidt,
David
was
Moyes.
it Schmidt?
David Moyes
No,
also.
David Moyes. No. David. I started with Mourinho, so that was
Ah,
after.
with Mourinho. Aha,
So,
okay. He was before.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
Van Gaal was the Dutch guy. Van Gaal was just away when I came, so
Hmm.
I didn't work with Van Gaal at Man United. So it was first was Mourinho, Solskjaer, yeah. So and Erik ten Hag now, and there was one between.
Hmm.
He was.
Okay. You cannot remember
So
all of
yeah.
them which you work. Yeah.
No. It's just one. He was short while there. So yeah.
Hmm.
But
How,
yeah.
how,
So
how long is the conversation when you work on some cases? You have more targets. Do you have the feeling that also the managers also make his own research and scouting? They receive information from his scouts, but I think the top managers also make his own research. That's my point of view, like an agent. When I speak with the managers, I see they have also many of information about players. Is this correct?
yeah, of course. I mean, the scouting department works hard to deliver players and then they have to be attractive to the manager, of course. But of course, the manager has also his contacts, his network, so it has to come all together. And finally, making decision makers in a club, and the manager has to make the decision which they believe is the perfect player on that position. It's slightly different, of course, with youth scouting,
Hmm.
recruitment first team. I think it's really two different parts of scouting. My role is more recruitment first team. So we need a
Hmm.
right fullback straight away for the first team. Find it. It's more recruitment. Scouting department is more the younger players to see the potential for maybe to become a first team player in the future. So there's two different things for scouting. But in the first team scouting, where I'm involved, it's like
Hmm.
recruitment, and of course the managers has his contacts also and a network also, and also the contact with agents. And when he's coming from Holland or Italy, he knows the players from Italy and Holland, so he brings also in his favorite players on different positions. And then it's the
Hmm.
case to bring it all together and try to make the right decision on the players. But you need, even if you have as a scouting department have a number one on the position, you need to bring the player to the manager that he likes the player, because he needs to work with the
Hmm.
player. In my opinion, it's my personal opinion, it never works if you bring in the player to a manager and he doesn't want or doesn't know the player or doesn't want to work with the player. It will
Hmm.
not be a success. So the scouts are seeing in all the countries the options. The manager is probably, the coach is probably focused on his own league more, so he has not the
Yeah.
time and everything to see every player. So you need to help him to bring in the players and get him to know the other options in other countries. And then at the end, it's all together with the scouting reports, with the financial fees, the
Of
does the
course.
player has other options to go to. It's not always saying that the player or directly come to the club, because there's so many other things happening
Negotiation
around the
part
transfer.
must also be
Negotiate,
very good. Financial part,
of course. Yeah, of course.
potential of the player to see his future in this club. It's so many
Yeah.
factors, but I think your part is very interesting. And also, I think sometimes you have a role where you must to explain the manager. Maybe he really needs this type of player, and he really will be a great fit. But the manager don't have enough information. I don't say that you must to convince the manager, but you must to give him maybe the most important informations that he see the big picture and that he understands that this player can be the right one for his team. Is it true?
Yeah, of course. But it's also about the system the manager wants to play, and the players he wants to have to play that system.
Hmm.
That can be sometimes difficult, of course, because we all know managers can go and come and go.
Yeah.
So you never have to rule out the other options,
Hmm.
because you never know if something happens in the team, or injuries, or someone is leaving or getting a transfer. Then suddenly a player you have to rule out can be interesting again. If there becomes a new manager, he wants to play different style. You need to have that players also in your database, and to say, okay, maybe this is the player you need to play. So of course we try to find players in the system the player current manager wants to play. He likes to see, he wants to develop his team, he wants to make his team stronger and better, and so he needs
Hmm.
certain kind of players, and we try to get them that players. But sometimes a player with a total different ability can be a really good player for us, but not in that system. But you have to have them still on, because you never know, in the future he can be the interesting one because of maybe different tactics, injuries, new manager, new style of play. So you have to be aware of that. But I totally agree. You need to look to the system, the way the manager wants to play, the players the manager prefer to have on certain positions, and we try to provide him those players, as many options we can have. And of
Hmm.
course we have a number one, two, three for that position, and then they have to decide which player they go for, and then what you say, you have all the other factors, the negotiations, the financial. Does the player wants to come? You have so many. Is it at the right time, or the speed,
Yeah.
or too slow? So yeah, that's the interesting part. Also, it's a really dynamic world. It changes day by day, especially in transfer windows. You can
And
have the
transfer window
players
is
and
now.
one.
Transfer window is now.
Yes,
I have
yes,
there also one question. Oh, sorry, Roy. Of
yeah.
course,
No,
please stay
okay.
here. We will have one very great one expert for negotiation skills. Please stay here with us. And again, write us where are you from looking. We speak about transfer window. We know it. The transfer window is sometimes the most important time in the season, but I always tell to my scouts also and to my licensed agents, you must to prepare your work for the transfer window. And I think, yeah, that's a very interesting task about scouting. When you don't prepare it for the transfer window, then you are not the right scout. Is this true, Roy? Do you see it also on this way?
Oh yeah. I mean, actually, the work in the transfer window for us is not that hectic, because we are already ready before the transfer window. So we work mostly half a year before, ahead for the transfer window coming up. So it's a hectic time for the negotiations, for the club, for the transfer. But for the scouting department, we have to be ready before the transfer window. So we always
Mhm.
work half a year ahead a new transfer window. So actually, for us in the transfer window, it's not that hectic, because we are ready. We have to be ready. We have our positions covered. We have our options covered, if needed. But again, it's hectic because you can have one, two, three options for for example, left fullback, but the other
Mhm.
clubs are also busy. So in one day, your one, two, three can be gone to other clubs. So you can start over again to find another three players on that position, because I mean we are not the only one there. We're not only the only one who sees good players, so there are many other clubs. So it's going day by day in transfer window. So sometimes you see all the players leaving and making transfers who are on your list, on your top list, and you can start over again. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what
Always
happens
competition. The competition is always there. The competition is
yeah,
huge
yeah.
and always there. Yeah, great.
And that's
Uh,
why it's always a 7 days work. It's always on.
mhm,
You have to be on every day. Yeah.
I understand. Roy, it's really great to hear so many insider things from your side. How I mentioned, we have also very short in the next few minutes insider information about negotiation skills. Andreas Andy Schroeder will be with us. But for the end, I would like to have also one answer on a question.
Okay.
What is your message for new football scouts? What will you give them? Which step for step guidance or something? What you want to tell everybody who is here and who want to be a football scout? Roy.
First of all, I think it's one of the best jobs to have in the football business. So if you have that feeling, just go for it. Take the opportunity to go for it, but have to know, as we said, you need to have the passion. You need to have the fanatic thing inside to want to know everything, to see the players, to develop yourself. Take the chance to take the help from people like Misat, but also from other scouts or whatever, if it's possible. Be open for to learn, to develop, and get your database and your reports ready, and take your chance. It's the
Database and reports. Yeah, that's it.
it's yeah, and develop yourself in your skills, and be ready for an opportunity. And again, it's a tough job. It's not an easy job. Everybody has to know that it's not a luxury job, as some
Mm.
people think.
Mhm.
It's hard work, but it's probably the best job to have in the football business. It's a great joy, and of course, the you get the energy of the players you see when they develop the path you think they develop and become top players for your level or in the world or Europe. That's the energy you get every time if you succeed to find a player like that, and that has to be the goal every day, every year. So I wish everyone good luck in this, and just go for it. Just that's the thing I want to say.
Thank you very much, Roy. It's really great to have you here, and also sometimes you will be our guest in our fast start scouting course. It's
Yeah.
really great to also keep in touch so long years with you. We have sometimes brainstormings where everybody can learn something. Um, Thank you again. I appreciate it
Yeah.
that you are here. We have so many questions from our publicum. We will give them the answer. I will write them the answer. You are also on LinkedIn. You can also look inside in this stream. And it was really great to have you here. And again, thank you for your time. I know that you work so many things from home, and you was yesterday also away in Germany, and you look games, many of them in the week. I cannot say how much I appreciate that you was with us here. Thank you very much.
Was a pleasure, Misat, and till next time.
Yeah, till next time. Now we will have also one guest who I speak about. Andreas Schroeder is here, absolutely expert for negotiation skills. I always say negotiation skills, but we learn in our SPA Academy course negotiation techniques. Maybe, Andreas, I don't say the right term. How you will say your knowledge about negotiation?
Well, first of all, hello, Misat. Hi, Roy. Thank you very much. I really appreciate having me here. And before I start with the official part, Roy, happy belated birthday! As I've seen it right, it's just a few days ago. So
Yeah, thanks.
there's always something to celebrate.
Yeah, thanks,
well,
Andy.
Happy birthday, Roy. Sorry, I don't know that Andy is also a hunter scout. He have a past of a hunter, and that's the reason he find it out. Okay,
Yeah.
great, that's great.
Perfect, thanks, Andy.
well, it is a difficult to answer this question directly. Well, it's negotiation skills or techniques or just negotiations, because it's a question about rhetoric, and I don't want to pick some cherries and watch and let's discuss about some proper sayings about this. What is from my perspective more important, that there are a lot of links that Roy already told us in the last 15 minutes, that we can grab on, that are also important for the negotiation. Like you were talking about the structure that you need, the information that has to be gained way before you even think about signing a player or getting deeper with him about talking about a contract. So there are a few things that we can focus on, and I really would like to do this in the last few minutes that we have. Yeah.
No, we will have time enough. Don't worry about that, Andy. I just want to say from my experience, really, in the last few years, Roy, you can maybe tell your experience. Before, it was a structure in the club. You have a sport director, you have a scout with maybe one or two assistant scouts, and you have a coach, who say to the scout what they need, which kind of position, and also the sport director know about that, And when you find the player, the sport director on the most of time make the calls, or the finance guy. But today you have in the structure, somewhere in the middle, people who really just make the negotiations for the contracts. And you can explain us, Andy, because you work also with big companies and you teach people how to make the best way to negotiation. Roy, did I say it correctly? In Groningen was the same structure.
Yeah, in the exactly in the past it was more like that. Now the clubs are bigger. It's also about the level, of course, the level of the clubs. So the smaller clubs maybe still have that same structure. I was used to work in Groningen at that time in with 3 people decide everything. And now in the bigger clubs, in the bigger levels, there's so more departments involved in the final decision. And we have also negotiation. You just a department who only does the negotiations when the whole club and the whole structure says, okay, we want to go for this player. He does the negotiations, the financial thing. So it's a complete department in the club. So that's totally different in the past. But I think it depends a little bit on the level and of the club also. You have still smaller clubs who work directly with 2-3 people. The bigger clubs, the bigger leagues, they are so big now. There's so big companies. There's so many money involved. They have really a department for negotiations. So I think that's different. Yeah.
But also, I have the experience, Andy. Maybe you can tell me that's usually today. You have also sometimes I have some transfers where really we come on the end of the story that the player don't want to go to this club, and then somebody from the club say, okay, we have one guy who would like to speak with him, who will find a solution, something like an expert in negotiation, and it's the story is come on another side, it's spin, it's come some spin. Do you have also some situations that when you have some people who really know very good kind of negotiation to find the spin inside of the parties, in some situation you think it's finished, the deal is not happen, and then somebody have this feeling and these skills that they make a spin inside of the negotiation. Do you have this experience, Andy?
Well, of course. The major thing that we have to keep in our mind is that we are talking about people, yeah, about human beings which are not acting like computers or machines, even if they may look like machines or they have the nickname machine, but they're not acting like these. So they are emotional driven, and this is nothing that is not bad, that is not good, but it's something that you have to keep in your mind. So in this situation, it is just a few there are just a few things that may influence them directly, and if you're at this point, this is what Roy already told you a few minutes ago, that their major work is done prior to the transfer window, and when it comes to the negotiations at the table, then it is it is almost, or it is very often clear which club will be signed or not. Well, of course, they are using some tactics like we're giving our latest offer, or that's the latest offer, and that's the latest offer. Um,
Mhm.
but it's also a question of trust, and this trust has to be built prior to the negotiation at the table, huh? And you also need to know how much can you ask for, and how much will you provide on the club side for a player. And this decision is made on all the information gained by the scouts, on the trust that has the person who's negotiating at the table in the information of the scout, and the trust that was built between the player, the scout, or the agent and the scout, that is sitting on the table and doing this negotiation live in there. It is, well, also there what Roy already mentioned, a question: how do they act under pressure? Huh?
Mhm.
And it says also a lot about a person with who he or she is working together. If the agent is someone who's well, who's known for being not that, how to say it in a diplomatic way, friendly,
Mhm.
and he's a
Mhm.
very tough guy, then it could be that the whole negotiation for the player would also be a very tough one, and it could be that clubs will not sign this player if the agent will, yeah,
He's a hardcore guy.
will
When
do a
he's a
bit too
hardcore guy.
much. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
if he's
yeah,
too hard. huh?
yeah, yeah.
Um, so he missed the window of the opportunity.
Mhm.
So this is a difficult part. It's the edge where they work, or where they walk on in these situations, and therefore it is important to have at least all given information collected prior, and also to know, uh, or you called it the 1, 2, 3 options that you have for one position. This is
Mhm.
what we call in the negotiation, well, in the professional environment, if we talk about negotiations, about the BATNA. This is the best alternative to a negotiated agreement.
Batna. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
Batna. Yes,
you,
yes.
you probably
Yes.
heard about it.
Yes. I
um,
teach I teach my students also about Batna. Yes, I know what I'm speaking about. Yeah.
yeah, well,
And I
of course.
have also one person when I speak about this three sides. Sorry that I now interrupt you.
No.
I come to always to the transfer of Mino Raiola when
Mhm.
Pogba is going to Man United. Everybody speak about that, why he received so huge commission in this transfer. But I think he was the perfect person who knows all three parts. He knows Pogba, great. He knows the club which received the player, Juventus Turin. It was the name, yeah. It was Juventus, and he knows Man United. And I think nobody in this moment on the world would be able to make this transfer. And Mino Raiola, he make it because he knows all three sides. He was a great negotiator, and he find a solution to winning situation. And I think That's the big skill of every negotiation part to find a winning situation, not just to winning losing situation. When in the negotiation is a winning losing situation or losing winning situation, this negotiation is not good. You must find the win-win situation. And I think Mino was in this transfer the right people who do this. I don't know, did you have a chance to work with Mino Raiola, Roy, or did you ever meet him?
Uh, yeah, I know. I think everyone knows me now from the past. Of course, he was a big name in the ancient world. Of course, he was Italian but worked from Holland, so I knew the people who work with him, and the players. Of course, he did. So he was a strong character.
Yeah.
Not always polite in the negotiations and everything, but he fights for his players. But I agree with you, Mirsad. I'm not a negotiator, so Andy can talk more about that. But from my experience, when you're on the table with people, you have to give everyone the feeling they won at the end. I mean, you have a lot of things to how you can do that, but I think that's what you also mean, Mirsad. If you bring on the table the feeling that everybody has won his thing to make it
Yeah.
a deal, then it's succeeded. If you make the deal and one of those guys is thinking, eh,
Mm-hmm.
this was not
Mm-hmm.
my deal, or I have not a good feeling about it, or whatever, it comes back to you in the next negotiations or in the next time you have to talk with the guys. So the best thing and the most chance to succeed in negotiating, in my feeling, is to have, when you talk with three parties, all three parties at the end, when you sign the deal, has the feeling we made a good deal, and that's I think really important.
Yeah,
And
That's
yeah,
need,
that's the
yeah.
point.
I do
Yes, Andy.
completely, I do completely underline this. This is completely true. You need to build up trust, and you need to be trusted. Well, I learned there's one person who influenced me a lot. His name is Gary Nosner. He's a former FBI agent. Maybe you can also watch him on Netflix because there's a series about him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and he told us that even the hostage takers, the people and the yeah also terrorists that he dealt with, um, what he did was he built a trust. And
Mm-hmm.
well, of course, they all knew creating a win-win situation in such a negotiation may be difficult. But sometimes you feel like a hostage at the table. What is also a very good book that I can recommend. Um,
Okay.
but uh, it is important that if you feel like this, you need to bring back the what do you say, the sense of mankind into this negotiation, and
Mm-hmm.
don't see the other side as opponent. See them more or less as a friend. You need these people to get there where you want. You want to sign a contract with them. You need to work together with them. As Roy already told, the inner circle is is not that big. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, even if the professional football world looks like it's a huge one and it's a global sport, of course it is. But the major actors, they know each other and they talk to each other, and this is also what I or what you as a player's agent need to keep in your mind. You meet always twice, and if you you can of course create a reputation like Raiola did. But the question is this a very good one? It is okay, or it's good to have a reputation that says that you're a tough opponent, or that you're tough negotiator, and that's not that
Yeah.
easy with you. But it has to be the one of the major points that you can be trusted, that if I say so, and if I give you the word, my player will sign at your club,
Mhm. That's the
then
point.
this should be happen. If this not happen, you need very, very good arguments, and you need to tell the club, and you need to make believe the club in what you're saying when this won't happen. And well,
And then you are worth the money, and that's the point. What I want to say, I
mm,
was in some podcasts where they asked me about Mino Raiola. Did this transfer was worth it that he received? I don't know. I think in this time
a
was
lot of money.
12 or 13 million. You know, it was really 12 or 30 million is it's a huge money. It's no question. But I always say he was worth this money because he bring two big clubs, one of the biggest club on the world, Juventus Turin and Man United, together to find a number which both was happy with, you know, because I'm sure not just Manchester United want Pogba in this situation, also Real Madrid, Barcelona, and many of another clubs. And on the other side, he bring the amount which Juventus was happy with, and he worked with a very difficult client, and that's the reason why I always say, for me, Mino Raiola was really one of the best agents of all the time because he was always working with difficult clients. He worked with Zlatan Ibrahimovic also, and that in his time when Zlatan was down, Zlatan was out of all games, you know, and he worked with him to come with him back to bring him like one of the biggest star, and he make one of the biggest transfers also with Zlatan. Everybody can search this. And okay, where is the problem when Manchester United want to pay him a commission of 5 million to bring him Pogba for this price? Where is the problem when Juventus Turin give him 5 million because they are happy when they receive another amount of price? And on the end of the story, when the player is also happy with his salary and give him few millions. I have so many situations where people who are not inside, and that's great that we speak now inside talk, don't understand that. I
Mm.
I think I say everything from the correct way of view. Or Andreas, Andy?
Yes, of course. And there comes we're staying still in the circle in this case, right? If you have all the information, or if you collected a lot of information, and this includes in these cases, you need to know where this player fits into. You need to know where this player wants to, well, where he wants to sign, where he
Mhm.
sees himself, in which club, in which city, in which area, wherever. Um, if you have also the information from the other side, if I see it right, there's a question coming. Do I need to understand their situation? Um,
Yes, that's
yes,
a
of
question from Brando. Yes.
yeah.
Do you need?
So yes, of course you should do, because this is information that is important. It is like the yeah. I say it from my point of view. Of course, it's a negotiation that you are doing, Roy, with your first club managers. When you talk to them about players that you've scouted, because um, you need to figure out what is their motivation, what do they want to play for systems. You were saying something like um, not every manager is playing the same system,
Mhm.
and they can switch the systems, and we all know it from the matches that we've seen, that not every player is acting the same way in the same club if the system changes or switches. And to get back on this, you collect information, and all the information that you can collect on the legal way. This is important. From the other side, they are also important, because what you can do is, and this is I'm guessing what Raiola did. He told Juve on the one hand and Man.U on the other hand, what are their benefits of this deal? How do they benefit? So the major question that has to be answered in every negotiation is the other side is asking him or herself, what's in it for me? And if you can give them an answer that they love to hear, then and this needs to come true, what you tell them, of course, then you're the way to close the deal would be very not very easy, but it will be easier than may be expected. And well, and these information should be collected prior to the negotiation at the table. And when you're at the table, you just can walk through them like on a checklist, and verify if you're right, if this is what they need, by repeating, paraphrasing it. This is when also I read a question about emotional intelligence. So what more bring it into the direction of empathy. So if I gain the trust that they will listen to me, that they get that I understand what they were talking about, and that I'm also interested in their motivation, in their needs, then it will be easier to make this deal together with the club, the player, or to figure out what's the best solution for all of us. And in this case, if we figure out what's the best solution for all of us, it doesn't matter if it is a negotiation between the player and the club, between the club and an agent, or between a scout and a head coach, or something like this.
Yes, thank you for the explanation. Thank you for the explanation, Andy. How was your path to this point where you're coming now with this negotiation skills? Can you tell us a few things about yourself?
Well, a bit in the past, yeah, of course. I've had a lot of international influence during my time in the German Air Force. I was directly working in a flying squadron on the NATO airbase. And from there, I was more or less substituted into the German embassy in Paris. So I served 4 years in a diplomatic area, with a lot of, we call it under the table negotiations. We were not the ones who were on the pictures, and we were also not the ones who were doing the major deals. When you talk about you need to know that there's a Germany and France, they are working very close together on very different branches and areas. And we from the military side were also focusing on keep the peace alive and watch on education. This was our major field where I was in during this time, and this was also very huge influence that I've had during these years. After this, I've been to Zurich. I worked together with Matthias Schranner, and he's one of the probably one of the most famous actors in Europe, at least, because he's doing a very good job and making negotiations visible for a good amount of people. Let's say it in this. And after this, I've had a short well,
Education?
let's say, I had something like an affair with a company from Sweden, where I was working as a headhunter. And after this, I worked on my own. I built up the PRM, the Professional Relationship Management Network, under which I did my negotiation training and the consultant.
Great.
And this is how I came to this.
Great. And what you're thinking about? You're also know the football business and so on. What are you
Mm.
thinking about how important it is for also the players and for the agents to really make education about the negotiation skills and go to the next level?
Mm.
What's your opinion?
Yeah, well, what we figured out in the past is that probably everyone is negotiating well several times a day, with even without recognizing it. Um, but unfortunately, it's nothing that you learn during school. Depending on what's your cultural background, you don't even learn it during your childhood, because where I grew up, what was very close to the Dutch border in Germany, um, to yeah Maastricht area. You may know
Mhm.
it. Um,
Yeah.
then
Venlo. I know Venlo.
yeah,
It's on
Venlo as
the
well.
board.
Yeah, but Venlo is a
Yeah.
bit more to the north from our point of view.
Mhm.
Um, but I got taught that well, at first they taught you how to speak, then they taught you how to be quiet, and then they taught you that you need to be open-minded, and then they taught you to just to think in directions in separated areas, and this is what we need to rebuild, and um, we need to realize that there is no natural born negotiator on this world, because we
Mhm.
are probably all able to speak, um, and this is what we need. If we want to negotiate, we need to communicate well. It doesn't matter if it's about if it's over via email, via by typing, by writing, or by speaking, but we need to communicate. This is important in this case.
Mhm.
You need, and your performance will increase if you know how to use several techniques, and if you know what to do when,
Mhm.
and this is, yeah, we call it, there are several tools, yeah? And if you, well, every one of us knows how to use a screwdriver, but if you've learned to use it in a professional way, you'll need way less power, and you will be way more efficient if you use it in the right way than someone who just knew it from, for example, from YouTube videos, or just by I did this on my own, and now I know I'm the best one who can use the screwdriver in the most efficient way. Uh,
Mhm. It's good. That's true. And also the rapport. It's one very very important part. I think
mm,
also Roy was also a professional player like myself, and he knows how important it is sometimes to make a fast rapport like a new player. You can imagine you play with many of good players. I also, but they sometimes come in some good players in our club, and they are really on the pitch great. But when they come in the cabin, in the dressing room, they don't find the rapport to another players, and after 2, 3, or 5 months, they go away from the club because they don't find his form, they don't find his place in the team, and I think that's also something connected with the skills of negotiation and to find yourself in a community, in a team, with this first rapport. The guy is maybe great, but they don't connect with another guys in the team. Uh, do you have also this experience, Andy? Find
mm,
a rapport. I think it's very important.
yeah, the rapport itself, it is important. If after those almost 90 minutes that we've spent so far here, if there's one thing that is important, or that one takeaway that you can have from my side, then is that rapport is one of the most important things for your negotiation success.
Mhm.
If you're in the locker room, well, I'm not sure if this link could be made that easy, because people like Roy did, from my point of view, not the right job if the one in the locker room will not more or less easily fit into the locker room, into the team, because this should be something from my point of view, what has to be figured out prior to the signing. We say it, if I compare this to a signing that we did on an automotive company, or in one of the elderly headhunters told me a saying. I'm not sure if it's from him, but I just quoted on him. He said, "People come for the money and they leave because of the people." So
Ooh,
if
that's very good.
if they've got a bad leader, if they can't, if they are unable to adapt themselves into the team, into the whole company, or sorry if I talk about a company, but if they don't fit into the locker room, if they don't fit into the team, or if they are not, if it won't work between them and the leader itself, then they won't perform as they can do, and then they'll leave the company, the locker room. So you hear, well, I see it also when they're talking about a trainer, a manager, or a coach who has lost the locker room.
Mhm.
So he did something, or something happened, that erased his trust, or
Yeah.
that at least shut it. And
Mhm.
if this happen, and if you lose this trust, it will damage the whole thing. And if I say damage the whole thing, it doesn't matter if we talk about a negotiation or if we talk about a football club. It is, let's say, not that simple to kick out a manager and to reinstall a new one. um, and depending on the, depending on the club infrastructure that you have, it is also not that easy to replace a negotiator on your team. But if there is one who has lost trust, and there's a lot of burnt earth that he had kept, it won't be easy to bring this to bring these people back into the game and to rebuild all this trust. So,
That's true.
long story short, um,
That was,
yeah,
but this one, what you say,
you need a
people
report.
come, yeah, the report important. But what you say, just to close this task, people come sometimes because of the money, but most of time they go because of another people. That's really true. That's really true. It's many of very interesting tasks here. What we hear from Andy. Also, when somebody wants to hear his podcast, Andy have his own podcast. The name is Besser Verhandeln uh, on German. It's also run in the future on English language. When somebody wants to see it, it will be, of course, great to come and to see the podcast. I put here the name downstairs below. Thank you again, Andy, for your time. When you want to give us some uh, words for closing this very interesting stream, I would give you the chance to give maybe our um, participants some last idea. I'm very happy when we can inspire somebody who look this stream to become a football scout, or maybe to be a better negotiator, or maybe a football license agent. It will be really great when we can move somebody in this way, because how Roy said, it's some of the most beautiful jobs in the world. And Roy, when you also want to give some words for the end, and after that, Andy, I would appreciate it. Do you join the stream? What was your feeling about that?
So me now?
Yeah, you, Roy.
Yeah, okay. First of all, it's very interesting to hear Andy and on his side of view, recognizing a lot of what he's saying, and it's really interesting. So I enjoyed it. I hopefully we do that more often. If I can have the time and I want to help people starting the business. So you always can ask things uh, on LinkedIn or whatever for the students or even Andy. I don't think you want to ask me too much because you're an expert, but I mean I'm open for it. You know, I'm always ready to help and to have some so info to people who wants to develop if I have time, of course, and so maybe it's good if you send me a message on LinkedIn or whatever. Just mention you were attending this Spa Academy live stream because then I know and I can make a little bit exceptions on the request I have. So yeah, I enjoyed it. And again, I learned also a thing on negotiation from Andy. So I hope there will be a next time soon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Roy. Also for the option to everybody who is in the Spa Academy and in this stream to have maybe some feedback from you when they have some questions. Andy, what would you say on the end about the stream and about some things what you want to give us on the end of the stream?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. First of all, thank you all for your time and thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure to be a part of this round, and it's an honor. It's very an honor for me. I very feel it's a very important for me as well. Yeah, Roy already told you develop yourself. This is something important, and I'm pretty sure I'll take the opportunity to contact you, Roy, and maybe we find some time just to talk. Maybe also in something like an interview, what we can have for my podcast then. And yeah, we will see. And yeah, for all of you, it's important. Just yeah, I can't say it in the tough way I want to say it. Just don't be an if you are outside or inside at the table,
Yeah,
because you always see each other more than once in a lifetime, and just don't see the others as opponents. See them as people that you need to reach your own goal, and this is important in negotiations. The other thing is what Mirzad already told you, what he showed. You need a structure. But as every good manager does on the pitch, they all have their playbooks and they know how to coach and what to do prior to a match, during a match, after a match. But that what happens in the 90 minutes or more or less on the 90 minutes on the pitch, this is unforeseeable in most of the times, and this is comparable to every negotiation. You need to be prepared. Um, you need to prepare yourself professional. When you're prepared professional, then the performance on the pitch at the table will bring the result that you want to have, if you've done all you can do. And I'm pretty sure this is a good saying at the end.
yeah, that's true. I always say also the preparation is the half of the job. You know, when you
Yeah.
make the right preparation, and that's really very good words for the end. Also for the scouting and for players agent and also for negotiation, make the right preparation, and I think you win 70% of the game. I'm sure that is. Thank you again, and also podcast Besser Verhandeln. Look about Andy. It's very interesting, and of course we will stay in touch. And everybody who don't look it now live, they can also write down the questions what they have maybe for one of us here. When somebody want to be a player's agent, write down number 1. I will come back to you. Or when somebody want to be a talent scout, also write just the number 1 inside. Thank you very much, and have you a nice evening. It was really great, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a nice evening.
Bye-bye.